Good afternoon and welcome to the Rundown. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, the 23rd of November. A 28-year-old man who was linked to Breonna Taylor's case was fatally shot. And in Philadelphia, a 12-year-old boy dead after a gunman shoots through a door in East Frankford. And the MyPillow CEO helped pay suspected Kenosha shooter Kyle Rittenhouse's $2 million bail. And Trump's election challenges sound alarm for black voters in Detroit, Philadelphia, and Atlanta. And Black Lives Matter activists strike back at Democrats slamming defunding the police. Movement leaders are in talks about formulating a counteroffensive to the challenge of the debate. And Trump's legal challenges against election results have been a national embarrassment, says Christie. Donald Trump plays golf while the world powers discuss the pandemic at a G20 summit. Leaders of France, Germany, and Italy deliver video messages for the season on the global response to the virus. R. Kelly's lawyers say that the singer is suffering mentally as the trial date is set for April. And lastly, teen who met grandma from accidental text share Thanksgiving plans after COVID loss. Let's get to the news. Adrien Walker, one of the key suspects of the drug investigation that led to the fatal police shooting of Breonna Taylor earlier this year. Taylor was a 26-year-old emergency medical technician who was shot by the Louisville Metro police officers who were exercising a no-knock search warrant and forced themselves into her apartment on March 13th. Police say they started shooting after Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, who was in her apartment at the time, fired at the officers first. Walker had not been mentioned on the warrant, according to CBS, but Taylor's ex-boyfriend, Jamarcus Glover, and Adrien Walker, which not related to Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, were listed. Glover, according to an affidavit cited by CBS, who was a key target in the investigation, had been using Taylor's address as his own a few weeks before the shooting. Authorities say Taylor was believed to be entangled in a drug operation with her ex-boyfriend, Jamarcus Glover, who police say was leaving drugs and money in her apartment, according to an affidavit cited by CBS. However, people close to Taylor say that Glover and Taylor were no longer together. ABC News reported that in wake of her death, police released a jail phone calls between Taylor and Glover. In one call, Glover said Taylor was stashing $8,000 for him and handling all my money. But as outlets reported, neither cash nor drugs were found at Taylor's home after her death. Glover publicly stated that Taylor was not associated in any criminal activity, according to CBS News. Glover was detained by police officers on March 13th, but was later released, CNN had reported. He was taken into custody again on August on separate criminal charges, according to the report. Walker, along with Glover, was accused of operating a trap house and consistently visiting Taylor's home, according to CBS, citing the warrant. Walker pleaded not guilty to charges related to this case in July. The Louisville Police Department was reached for comment, but the police told reporters that suspects related to Walker's death have yet to be identified. Walker's attorney on Thursday confirmed that he had been informed of Walker's death. A grand jury in September had declined to charge two of the three officers involved in Taylor's death. The only charge in her case came from the officer who shot into the neighbor's apartment. A 12-year-old boy is dead after Philadelphia police say a gunman went to a home on East Frankford and shot through a door. According to police, as the boy was answering a knock at the front door, the gunman shot through the door, hitting the boy once in the head. The boy was pronounced dead just after 3 a.m. This happened on the 5000 block of Dittman Street. The boy was home with his grandmother and 10-year-old sister at the time of the shooting. Police doubt the boy was the intended target. Police are asking for the public's help to find who shot the boy. If you know anything, we're asking to give Crime Stoppers a call. Kyle Rittenhouse, the teen accused of fatally shooting 2 people in August during a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, was released from custody after posting a $2 million bail, according to the county sheriff's department. Rittenhouse was released on Friday afternoon after the $2 million bail was posted through his attorney. His attorney then tweeted on Friday that Michael Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, and actor Ricky Schroeder helped raise the required $2 million cash bail for Rittenhouse. Ricky Schroeder is the actor that played the Richie Rich character in the television show. Rittenhouse faces charges that he allegedly killed 2 people and wounded a third during a protest that followed the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha in August. Kenosha's county commissioner said in setting the bond early this month that the court considered Rittenhouse a flight risk because he could face a mandatory life sentence or at least significant amount of time, likely decades of time of incarceration if convicted. Rittenhouse was afraid that he would spend the rest of his life in prison after turning himself in to authorities. A friend of the teenager told the police in a recorded interview that CNN obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. Rittenhouse faces 2 felony charges of homicide in the death of the 2 people that died and a felony attempt homicide charge in the case of the one injured. He is also charged with possession of a dangerous weapon while under the age of 18, a misdemeanor according to court records. An attorney for Rittenhouse has claimed that there is evidence that the teen acted in self-defense. Rittenhouse is due back in court for a preliminary hearing on December the 3rd. President-elect Joe Biden was in part powered to victory in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia by black voters, many of them concentrated in cities such as Detroit, Philadelphia, and Atlanta, where he'd receive a significant share of their support. However, since Election Day, President Donald Trump and his allies have sought to expose voter fraud that simply did not exist in these and other overwhelmingly black-populated centers. A plainly racist strategy to contest the election could erode black voters' trust in the election. Voting rights advocates say that they stand ready to beat back any efforts to water down the black vote, but fears persist that Trump's allies will undermine democracy and disenfranchise black Americans and other voters of color. Trump's renewed his attack on Motown voters Thursday, tweeting, "Without evidence, voter fraud in Detroit is rampant and has been for many years." The GOP effort in Michigan came to a head on Tuesday when the Wayne County Board of Canvassers initially deadlocked on a vote to certify the election results, including ballots from Detroit the nation's largest black majority city. Two Republican canvassers tried to block the routine certification, which provoked an outcry from people attending the meeting and civil rights leaders who questioned whether race was a factor. The two GOP board members eventually revised their votes and certified the results. They later tried to revert to their original position and were rebuffed by the state officials who said the certification could not be rescinded. Black voters and other voters of color were guaranteed free and fair access to the polls through the landmark Voting Rights Act of 1965. Prior to this passage, black voters, primarily in the South, were routinely subject to intimidation and deadly violence for simply registering to vote. In places where they could register, some voters faced literacy tests and poll taxes that effectively left them disenfranchised. In some states, voter discrimination complaints worsened after 2013 Supreme Court ruling gutting a section of the Voting Rights Act law requiring states with a history of discrimination to get federal approval before changing voter regulations. States have passed stricter voter ID requirements, carried out voter roll purges, and limited early voting in places where minority voters were disproportionately affected. Election officials from both political parties have stated publicly that the 2020 election went well, and international observers confirmed there were no serious irregularities. And be sure to join Jay Wilson, Rebel Sun, The Official Campaign, Conscious TV, and Captivating Christian this and every Thursday at 6:45 Central Standard Time, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time for the Gentleman's Panel, where we are not afraid to go there and discuss an array of topics. See you there. Black Lives Matter activists have a message for Democrats blaming the party's losses down ballot on their call to defund the police. Show us the receipts. In wake of a week-long public attack on the slogan by Democratic elected officials, movement leaders are mullering a counteroffensive to push back on the criticism. Without a defense, some organizers fear centrist Democrats would use the election result as an excuse not to tackle police reform, a major campaign promise made by President-elect Joe Biden. Half a dozen Black Lives Matter leaders said in interviews that they felt disrespected and frustrated by the debate over the slogan to defund the police, instead of the fundamental policies pushed by protesters for systematic changes to policing. They also argued that organizers helped energize protesters around the election and registered them to vote. Yet, all they're hearing is condemnation rather than appreciation. Former New Jersey Governor Christie on Sunday denounced a lack of evidence in President Trump's legal challenges against election results as a national embarrassment, emphasizing that Trump has had his chance to provide allegations of widespread voter fraud in court. Despite the president's legal challenges in various states gaining little to no ground, only a handful of congressional Republicans have acknowledged Biden as the president-elect. Hey, this is Captivating Christian here to remind you to tune in to Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. President Donald Trump was golfing yesterday while some of the world's most powerful leaders took part in the G20 session on the global response to the coronavirus pandemic. Major leaders delivered video messages for a virtual session on the pandemic preparedness, including politicians from this year's host, Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, Italy, and South Korea. President Donald Trump attended the morning session in his second to last appearance at the international meeting as president, but was golfing in Sterling, Virginia when the afternoon side panel for the COVID-19 pandemic took place. The White House press secretary later said that Mr. Trump spoke at the summit to highlight the work the U.S. had done rebuilding the economy and securing vaccines in response to the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, coronavirus cases in the U.S. have topped more than 12 million, according to Johns Hopkins, with 255,905 related deaths. Globally, the pandemic has claimed more than 1.3 million lives. A federal judge has ordered a start date in the trial of singer R. Kelly, according to information provided by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York. In a schedule set down by the U.S. District Court judge, jury sequesters will be distributed between March 15th and March 25th of 2021. Jury selection begins on April 6th and the trial kicks off on April 7th. Kelly is facing charges in New York of racketeering, coercing a minor, transportation of a minor, and coercing to engage in illegal sexual activity related to 6 different victims. The indictment alleged that for over 2 decades, R. Kelly was the leader of a racketeering enterprise made up of managers, bodyguards, drivers, personal assistants, runners, who recruited women and girls to engage in illegal sexual activities with the singer. These sexual activities were often filmed and photographed by Kelly. According to court document filings by the Department of Justice, he is also awaiting trial in Illinois regarding separate sexual abuse allegations and is currently being held in a Metropolitan Correctional Facility Center in Chicago. An Arizona grandmother and a teenager, now all grown up, have carried on a Thanksgiving tradition for years, all because of a text that went to the wrong person. It all started when Wanda Dirch, now 63, thought she was texting her own grandson about Thanksgiving dinner plans, but accidentally texted now a 21-year-old Jamal Hinton instead. He asked for a photo to find out if it was his own grandmother behind the text. The picture came in from a woman with blonde hair and glasses, not Hinton's grandmother. The wrong message went viral on social media, and the pair decided to meet in real life. They had so much fun together that Hinton had joined the Dirch family for Thanksgiving every year since. But sadly, Lonnie Dirch, Wanda's husband of 43 years, died from complications due to COVID-19 in April. Speaking to Good Morning America on Thursday, Hinton called Lonnie a good friend who was very supportive of his accidental friendship with Wanda. In July, Hinton posted a video on YouTube documenting a dinner he and his girlfriend shared with Dems. This year marks the pair's fifth Thanksgiving dinner. Hinton told Good Morning America that he is quarantining for 2 weeks so that he can spend an in-person, socially distanced holiday with Dems. Once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.